Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mortis FM. This time, bringing you a Thanksgiving special, not your traditional kind of Star Wars holiday special. Although, keep a lookout for that in the upcoming month. I am, for the first time, introducing us, Cole, one half of Mortis FM, and my other half. Who are you, good sir? Even though I know exactly who you are.
I am Grayson, for anybody who doesn't know. Yes, this is Cole's first time kind of emceeing, introducing the episode, because that's what we promised on this one. So Cole is always killing it with his charisma, but he is one half, but he is a very important half. Stop doing that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I'm just completely... throwing away the idea of what you're saying, because you're like always so charismatic, and I'm just in the background going like this,
just doing his mannequin posing. But yes, this is our Thanksgiving episode, and we figured, listen. Let's also preface. We also said we were going to do our tier list this week. Sorry, it's Thanksgiving. We forgot. I'm sorry. We will be doing
holidays
that.
Come first.
Yes, it is true. So for any who celebrate Thanksgiving, enjoy time with your loved ones. We hope you appreciate this kind of smaller Thanksgiving-oriented episode, and I think it's going to be a pretty fun one.
Yeah, I mean, this one is very impromptu. Like, we 100%, when we said we're doing a tier list episode next, we absolutely meant for that to happen. But then we were just kind of like, what if we just did a Thanksgiving episode? Like, this is going to be much shorter form. It's not going to be, presumably, we're not planning for it to be 2 hours long like our regular episodes. So why don't you just sit back, relax, grab your favorite Thanksgiving dish, and listen to what we have to say about this holiday and somehow relating to Star Wars.
Listen, somehow we can make everything connect to Star Wars. It's just how it be.
Yeah, I can't wait for St. Patrick's Day episode. We're gonna be all over that.
Why is Star Wars so lucky? No. So I think
that's actually a great idea. In my experience, there's no such thing as luck.
Listen, these things write themselves. All right.
We're just gonna say, hey guys, welcome to the St. Patrick's Day Mortis FM episode. And in our experience, there's no such thing as luck. Everyone have a good evening, and then the episode just stops.
Literally just 30 seconds. Yeah. So, is there anything? I'm blanking. Is there any housekeeping stuff? No, I'm not even gonna worry about it. Let's save that for the end. So, the first thing that I want to do. It's on brand for Thanksgiving. For anybody who watched my episode with Star Wars Sith for Sith Talk, that was the very first episode that we did the chat pack. It was Cole's idea, and so we kind of demoed it out on there. And then on Cole's episode, he also did it on there. But we've been keeping the kind of the trend going. But there was a question, if people don't remember, where Tony and I, the card said, what food in Star Wars do you really want to try? And listen, Thanksgiving out of all holidays is very food oriented. It is about filling your stomach and being a glutton and just being thankful for what you have. So,
and that's why this episode, it's all going to be about Jabba.
What Jabba eaten? We should have dressed up as like just Jabba the Hutt. You ever seen those like inflatable Jabba the Hutt suits?
Yeah, I need to get me one of those. Dude, I'm going to get one, and I'm not going to tell you when. I'm just going to show up for an episode wearing the Jabba costume.
I hope you cut out a hole where the mouth is, so you can like speak through it and like stick your tongue through it. Be very immersive.
I get like an entire rotisserie chicken and just like stuff it into the hole that I cut.
It's getting real sticky and greasy in here, guys.
Oh man! Well, now I'm hungry.
Listen, hey, if you're listening to this on Thanksgiving, although I'm kind of surprised, go hang out with your family, I guess, or don't. It's up to you.
No, you know what? We can be their family. Hang out with us is totally fine. You're always welcome here.
It's so funny that I thought about this on the first episode that I ever saw of Beyond the Dune Sea, Connor and Seth's show. I remember I commented, and it was one of their favorite comments for that episode. It was, I basically said, that Connor and Seth are the two type of guys that like they're your relatives that like Star Wars, and you just basically just once you go and meet everybody and like have your dinner, you just go into a corner and just talk with them the whole Thanksgiving dinner about Star Wars, and like get away from the relatives about what the politics and just like the whatever is going on in your family. And that was just like, because it's true, like that's especially with all of our kind of our friends, that being Tony and Will and Retney and all these people, they're all super cool. They're just the type of people that I'm like, man, I just want to hang out with you and just talk about Star Wars the whole time, you know?
Man, to my sorrow, I do not have someone in my family that I could talk about that with. It's all sports, and like, I'm not trying to diss on sports, I'm just not really a sports guy. I would much prefer for the family to put on a Star Wars duel, and then for us to guess who wins, even though I know, you know.
Yeah, I have a few relatives, which I can probably speak more about in the holiday episodes that we might do. But
our St. Patrick's Day episode.
I'm trying to think, what are like the most ludicrous holidays we could do? That's a whole other thing. But anyway, I have a couple relatives on my dad's side of the family that really like Star Wars, and so anytime I get to like hang out with them, we're holding our family gathering, like our holiday family gathering between Thanksgiving and Christmas, with my dad's side of the family here at our house. And obviously I've accumulated quite a few lightsabers since I've last seen them.
Yeah.
And listen, they are basically just children at heart. So they're going to be quite mind blown when they see my dad and I's high-end NeoPixel Profi lightsabers, especially like when we have the bonfire out back at night. Like, they're gonna lose their minds, you know.
It's gonna be a good time, and then you're also going to say that whoever wins in this fight gets to cut the turkey
with the lightsaber.
Yes.
Please don't mess up my lightsaber.
that would be wild. Nothing would happen. Like you would think that it would be an actual lightsaber where you just cauterize the absolute heck out of the turkey, but in actuality you're just stuffing a fake lightsaber into a turkey. You're not doing anything.
It's gonna
productive.
Get my $120 super bright LED blade just covered in turkey grease. Please.
And then the turkey's gonna be inedible because you don't wash the blade really.
No, I don't. Anyway, Thanksgiving food, Star Wars food. Cole, and we can do a little bit of research on this. Anybody watching video, pardon the sudden jump in brightness on my face because I'm going to have to go away from what our recording client. It's going to get a little bit brighter, but I'm going to just pull up Star Wars food and see what sounds interesting. When I was on Tony's episode, I said Melu runs. I really want to try a Melu run, but
yeah. I have two things in mind that I already want to talk about.
Look up Star Wars in universe food. I should have pulled up this tab beforehand, but like you said, very impromptu. Wikipedia does not fail me. Oh, there's so much. There's so much food. Oh my gosh.
Dude, I'm so hungry right now. Actually,
really?
I'm going to eat after this episode.
Okay. Yes, you should.
It's super late at night, but I'm hungry anyway.
Well, okay, the first thing, I'll go ahead and say, we talked about it last week because I figured out that these were canon because I named my Lothcat Waffle. You remember that?
Yeah.
I want to try the space waffles. They're literally just called space waffles. I mean, if it's Kanan's favorite with what is Muja sauce? That was what he said he liked it as. That was his favorite, was with Muja sauce. Is that a real thing?
So I'm going to go on a limb here and think that space waffles probably just taste like waffles.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm sure that they will be just as great. Oh my God.
Here's the thing, right? So, you and I, we frequented Galaxy's Edge a few times, and we tried a few different foods. I've tried almost all of the foods at Galaxy's Edge. There also is a Galaxy's Edge cookbook, which my girlfriend and I, once we are married and have our own place, we want to get that, put that on our registry, and make like Star Wars foods.
That's great.
It's very great, but
that's great.
There's a lot of really cool stuff in there. Of course, it's using ingredients in the real world, but you got to use the theater of the mind. You got to believe in the imagination. But
of course,
one of my favorites was always, I mean, it's kind of iconic to Batu, and that is the Ronto wraps.
Yeah. What was
So there's a plate. Remember the giant pod racer engine that was frying the stuff?
Well, what is it, like Hangar 12, Hangar 13 or something?
So that is Docking Bay, whatever. That's a different restaurant.
Oh, okay.
So there's technically 3 restaurants in Galaxy's Edge. There's Oga's, which is the bar. They don't really have as much food. We are Oga's frequenters. We did Oga's quite a few times.
I love their Bespin Fizzes, man. I miss it so much. I want a Bespin Fizz so bad.
Here, personal recommendations from Cole and I. If you're going to Batu, whichever version in Florida or the transport on Florida, the transport in California to take you to Batu, Cole's personal recommendation is the Bespin Fizz. If you go to Oga's, get the Bespin Fizz. It is amazing. It's one of my favorites. I recommend it to him, and it's a banger. Every time I go there and he's not there, I try to, unless I'm just not having alcohol that night, because they do have non-alcoholic drinks that are pretty good. But I always try to get a Bespin Fizz for
they use dry ice to create like this foggy cloud-like effect coming out of the drink. And I remember, I just remember the first time that we got it. That is just such a fantastic memory from Galaxy's Edge. Just the first time that we went there together, and we take that picture of the two of us holding our drinks.
And we were playing Sabacc.
Oh my god, that was just the best time ever.
Cole still owes me a drink because I beat him at Sabacc.
Right.
And Disney does not pay you the big bucks when you're employed by them. So he's still indebted to me by a drink.
I still owe him a drink. That's
That was like, we were like in character. It was so fun. But yeah, and my personal recommendation, listen, if you like a lot of alcohol in your drink, and this one's one of my favorites, the beer and the wine, it's pass up on it. It's not good. I mean, it's fine. It's just regular red wine and beer. But my personal favorite is the Jet Juice. It has like 3 different types of alcohol in it, and it packs a punch, man. But to me, it feels like such a Star Wars drink, because like a lot of Star Wars foods, especially in Batu and like in this cookbook and just things you see in the shows and in content, they're very spice heavy, like not the drug spice, but like they're very like a lot of herbs and spices in their food, which makes it very like flavorful and cultural, and they'll put fruit and things in the food, and it's really good in my opinion. I'd take Star Wars food over kind of real world food any day, to be honest. Like
you tried the you tried the Jedi mind trick, right?
Yes.
I liked that drink as well. It's like vodka mixed with grapefruit. I was a big fan of that too.
The iconic one is the fuzzy tauntaun. That is
I never had that.
Okay, well, I guess we're getting you a fuzzy tauntaun next time.
Dude, what? I didn't even know what apparently there's one called a Dagobah Slug Slinger, which just sounds really cool.
I'll be honest, that's not my favorite. That's probably one of my least favorite. No.
I have to try all of them. I think I've only had the Bespin Fizz and the Jedi Mind Trick. I might have had the Jet Juice, but I'm not sure.
The Dagobah Slugslinger is very like herbal. So there's like it's very like flowery in a way, and I'm like, it's all right. It's just not my cup of tea. But I have tried every drink on their menu, which shows you that I go there a lot.
Dedication.
Dedication. I've also tried all the drinks on the Star Cruiser when it was still in operation. So Disney has gotten my money when it comes to alcoholic Star Wars beverages. Drink responsibly.
Drink responsibly. So the first thing.
What is your food? Yes.
So I have 2 things in mind. The first thing that I was gonna say is that I've always wanted to see what Luke's like travel box was. Like what you like that packet of food, like basically his lunchbox that he takes out on Dagobah.
Oh yeah.
And Yoda kind of like starts taking his food. I bet that it tastes like crap. Like I can't imagine like it's
a dog
great
treat.
But also I very distinctly, most especially, want to try the Imperial travel biscuits that were mentioned in Mandalorian season 3. That like all of it was all of those Imperials of the Imperial Remnant were talking about that the one thing that they missed from the Empire Age was the travel biscuits. And I remember when one of them, I don't remember her name, but like she gets this box of travel biscuits for the doctor.
It's Leah Karn, I think.
Yeah, they just look so good.
Yeah.
Like they're basically just like wafers or something, but like I can imagine that those things taste like the bomb because they were really hamming it up with those. But yeah, those are it's really boring, but those are my two. Because
I mean, honestly, it's kind of like little snacks, you know.
Yeah, just little snacks.
I honestly listen. I don't care if someone says I'm a monster. I've always wanted to try porg. I want to eat a porg. Like,
yeah, ever since that scene of Chewie cooking them, man. I mean,
it looks good.
Hungry.
I'm sorry. Listen, the porgs have grown on me, okay? I like them, but I want to eat one, okay? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Now, if you say something about eating a loth cat, I will hunt you down.
Yeah, see, that's where we draw the line.
You would eat one?
No, I said we draw we draw the line at like people eating loth cats. I thought
you were saying that. Between us. I was like, Cole.
No, I wouldn't eat a loth cat. That would just feel so wrong. I want a loth cat as a pet. That would be terrible.
That was like, oh my god, you're a monster.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a very loaded question because now I'm like looking through all these things. I'm just gonna pick one.
Oh my god, I know exactly what my third one is. Turbo dogs. I want a turbo dog so bad.
Oh, that's from Survivor, right?
Yeah. See, for those who don't know, in Jedi Survivor, you will hear stormtroopers talking like multiple times about how badly like they want turbo dogs, which is basically, I can assume, the Star Wars equivalent of a hot dog. But like, hot dogs slap, and kind of want a turbo dog. So that would be good too. But yeah,
I just found one. I'm like looking through and just kind of seeing which ones sound appealing to me. Apparently these are in Legends. Whatever, it's food. Who cares? The Rishi honey sticks.
That sounds delicious.
They were dipped in sweet powder and lightly fried to give the dish a crispy batter. That's all it is, but it sounds real good to me. I don't know.
Apparently there's also a blue milk pancake, which sounds pretty good.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I love me some blue and green milk. So
the pancakes are just straight up blue, which is a little disconcerting, but at the same time, I'm down.
What is this? What am I looking at? Cole, I think I found the food for you, buddy. I'm looking in this, and I don't know what this is from. What is this from? This is what is? Oh, it's from the Lego Star Wars official Stormtrooper training manual.
Okay.
It's called the General Grievous Grilled Cheese.
What? There's a General Grievous grilled cheese?
It said it was a food edible by humans and was available in the Death Star cafeteria. It's Lego Star Wars. You gotta take it with a grain of salt. But I'm like, dude, all right, Cole is slamming some General Grievous grilled cheeses.
I typed General Grievous grilled cheese, and there have been people. Oh, this is a General Grievous pizza. It's just a pizza that has been shaped to look like General Grievous, and his eyes are pepperonis with black olives as the pupils. So that is fantastic.
Oh god, that sounds wow. That's so funny.
Well, okay.
Some of these are so. For context, I'm looking at this one right here, and we can round out this discussion because it's just kind of a fun little discussion thing. My favorite food ever. This is a really weird take, but my favorite food ever is eggs, because of there's so much utility of them, and other than like last year, they're relatively cheap. You can get a lot of eggs for pretty inexpensively. And they're high in protein. Got to get the gains,
Classic strong boy answer.
But there's something here that's apparently found on Coruscant called Gartro eggs.
Gartro.
And I don't. Gartro eggs were mentioned in the non-canon video game Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. Again, all it's up to the Lego stuff, but I mean, it sounds pretty. I mean, it's probably just an egg, but I'm like, I want to know what an egg from like different creatures. You got to think how many different types of eggs are in Star Wars. There's so many creatures.
Gartros are small dragon-like avian creatures that live on Coruscant. They kind of sound like Minox. Bat-like wings, spiked tails, and jaws with sharp teeth.
Freaking Minox, dude.
Nerf steak.
What? That sounds pretty good.
Potato wedge. They just added an R. Sure. It served as a lunch side at Dex's Diner in the Cocoa Town district on Coruscant. It was priced at 3.5 credits. 3.5 credits in this economy? That's outrageous.
I can't be affording that, man.
Come on, Dex. Come on, man.
Oh, man. So, I think it's a good place to end that discussion.
Yeah, I feel like people are just listening. They're going like, they're just listening to us go like, oh, look at this food. That's cool. Look at this one. Oh, that sounds good.
It was a little gimmick. Give us some grace, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Now we'll hop on over to the meat food.
And if we don't stop talking about food, I'm gonna get up right now in the middle of the episode and just go get something to eat.
Please don't leave me here. Yeah. So what we're Thanksgiving, of course, very food oriented, but also Thanksgiving is about giving thanks. That goes without saying. Don't make fun of me, okay? You did earlier. So what I pitched to you, or what I'm pitching to everybody, and I would love to hear in the comments. By the way, we're very close to 50 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you guys. Anyone, even if you're listening not on YouTube, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, everyone.
We are thankful. We are grateful for you.
We at Mortis FM extend our most sincere gratitude and love. Thank you for loving Star Wars and also for loving us. And if you don't, we can change that.
Yes.
But it's okay.
Just stick around.
Stick around.
But what I want to kind of talk about is some kind of just small stuff in Star Wars that we're thankful for, and of course we're not going to just be like, oh, I'm thankful for Star Wars or whatever, or George Lucas.
I'm thankful for George Lucas.
Yeah, like obviously we're thankful for that. We're going to get kind of into like some deeper, just some really smaller things that especially I think pertain to our friendship and our relationship and kind of what helped us start this podcast in the first place. So we already know the first one. Should we save that for the last, maybe? Maybe do that at the last, and let's kind of keep it fresh and on our toes.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Sure. Perfect. Well, we won't say it, but we have a scene in particular that Cole and I both really love and we'll always just love to talk about. So we will get to that after we kind of do our individual ones. So let's just, depending on how long the discussion goes, maybe I'll do one or two, and you'll do two. We'll go back and forth. Well,
by all means, my friend, pop off. What are you thankful for in Star Wars?
So this is not the one that I was going to lead with at first, but it came to me very quickly. What I am extremely thankful for is Star Wars Battlefront 2015, the EA version.
Oh, okay.
And that's not a popular thing that people say. People like that game, but it had severe issues, especially at launch, especially with content, with EA, etc., etc. Did not have a campaign, but that game means a ton to me, and I know it means a lot to you because if you don't know, that game was, I think we might be friends, but I think without that game we would not be best friends today.
It was I think it was the connective tissue that it established a longevity in the friendship. It gave us like a reason to hang out and to talk, something that we could converse while doing because we both loved playing it at the time. And then having a buddy to play the game with just immediately made it better. And then even more so when Battlefront 2 2017 came out, was like, we were so excited for it, which, it was just compounding on one another.
Yeah, because it was like the excitement for the second game was so high for two reasons. Specifically, it's like because we played so much 2015, and like I played the game with our mutual friend Jesse. And then we met, and you were like, "Oh, do you have Star Wars Battlefront 2015?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." And so we played that game all the time, and we would go into private matches, and we would do like hide and seek and stuff, and that was like genuinely so much fun. And you were like, "Do you have the DLC?" And I was like, "I don't have it." And you were like, "Dude, get the season pass. The DLC is really good." And so like it literally was you who got me back into that game, and we sunk. Like I want to say like hundreds of hours.
So much time. I mean, I feel like that period of time, like those couple years, most of what we were doing in terms of like our game time, we were playing Battlefront. Mm-hmm. You know, we were doing private matches on Hero Hunt. We were doing heroes versus villains. We were playing what was it? Was it called Galactic Assault? Or was it?
It was called Walker Assault.
Walker Assault, yeah, we were doing Walker Assault, and then especially when they added that to Bespin as well.
Yes.
We were when they brought in the Electro Staff. We were trying to
the Zeb gun, yeah.
Yeah, like the Zeb gun. We were trying to get that because you have to kill someone that has it.
Yeah,
and
it was
so
like a plague.
Yeah, and playing the sabotage game mode on Bespin as well, which was like so high stakes and so much fun.
I think did Death Star come out? I think we would already become friends, and we had been playing like Death Star was one of the big final releases. It might have been Scarif was the big one.
Yeah, the final release was Scarif, which is honestly. It's ironic and, you know, it's very coincidental in that sense because Rogue One was the thing that brought us together initially.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about Saw Gerrera, like that was the immediate thing that made me go like, hold on, this guy's talking about Saw Gerrera. He must know his stuff. Let me test his knowledge over here. And I just started talking because like it was cool that I had someone to talk about Star Wars with. Because honestly, like at that point in time, I really didn't have someone that I regularly talked with about Star Wars, and I just kind of, you know, like consumed all of the like new information and news on my own, and I was just like quietly enjoying it and being a part of like the online fan bases and stuff like that. But I didn't really have like a Star Wars friend. You have a bunch of people that like Star Wars, but you don't have the Star Wars friend. You know what I mean? It's like very specific. And so I think establishing that connection together, we were both like it was basically the Spider-Man meme, just like going like this, and so I mean from then on, like the rest is history. And Star Wars is the gift that keeps on giving. You know, we always have something to talk about, and I think that's something that I really don't share with most of my friends, is that like I just always have something to talk about, and usually it's Star Wars, but you know.
I mean, it is rare that we go a day without interacting that we don't talk about Star Wars or send a meme or a quote, something. Yeah. And honestly, it's like like that first interaction of a meeting, like talking about Star Wars, Saw Gerrera, and then playing so much of Battlefront 2015, which directly led us into being like, hey, let's all go to Celebration together, which is where they announced Star Wars Battlefront 2. And then that kept going, and then we saw The Last Jedi together, and then we saw Solo together, and then it just the snowball just kept rolling and rolling and rolling, and it really just was from that Battlefront 2015 Rogue One thing, like that little specific piece, and I'm just incredibly grateful for that. That is my little niche thing, and I would love to go back and play that game on PC, because we played on Xbox One at the time. So it would be really fun to hop back into that one day. But yeah, that's the first thing that I'm thankful for.
Well, man, so this one's a little broad, but I am going to thank Star Wars for being a crucial part of my childhood. I was going to say just initially, thanks Star Wars for my childhood, and that is still accurate, but it's not, you know, it didn't encompass my entire childhood. Essentially, like, I'm going to be honest, and people might disagree, but growing up in the early 2000s was probably the best time to grow up as a Star Wars fan. Because at that point in time, you were basically bombarded with all sorts of awesome Star Wars content. You were like, the prequels were coming out, you had the originals, all of these games were coming out like left and right. There were so many games released in the 2005 year alone, and all of these Legends novels and these new creations, and literally just you had so much Star Wars to digest and consume like immediately. I almost feel like when I was a kid, there was never a shortage of Star Wars content, and then even more so, Clone Wars started coming out, and so like I was extremely grateful as a kid. But the thing is, when I say thank you, like I'm thankful for Star Wars for my childhood, is because it was an integral part about my growth. I learned how to become a hero like Luke. I learned how to, sacrifice good things for the sake of a better thing from Obi-Wan. I learned how to be wise and to do and not try instead of like just thinking that you can't. I learned that from Yoda. I learned to save what you love from Vader, right? There's so many things. And from Han Solo, like I learned what it means to, swallow that feeling of I need to be a man and instead just care about the people that you care about.
Yep.
There's so many things that, like, Star Wars as an entity is so influential to a kid. And then of course, like when George says, oh well, it was meant for 12-year-olds, like I almost feel like at times I feel like he says that in a manner that is meant to downplay what Star Wars is in order to take the criticism less severely. But when he says that, there was this one point in time when it really resonated with me that it had such a profound effect on how I view the world and just how I view interactions with people and my own life. And yeah, a lot of the lessons that are intrinsic to my personality, I learned from Star Wars. Whether it be from the games or from the movies or from the shows or the books, I was eating all that up. Yep. And I will never forget the memories of that mostly everybody has of getting those like little plastic lightsabers from the toy store and, whacking them around and someone hits your thumb, but like you shake it off, you get back to it. Maybe one of them gets bent every now and then, but you'll get another one. You find a purple one in the bin and you're like, yo, this is so cool, because all of them are usually red, blue, and green.
Yeah.
And then when your parents, like end up investing into the cool FX sabers and like igniting that for the first time, like that was that true feeling of going like, man, like as a kid, you ignite that lightsaber and you feel like a Jedi. It's so cheesy to say, but having that kind of profound effect simply by pressing a button on a toy, that says how influential Star Wars was for me as a kid. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it marked my childhood. And again, thanks to Star Wars again, it marked my early adulthood and now adulthood, because it, helped me meet my best friend. It helped me form lasting relationships and like strong bonds. And now it is a part of one of my passion projects, Mortis FM. And so, yeah, thanks Star Wars. That is what I'm thankful for.
Yeah. You're completely right. Like I think back especially to that 2005 time and the following years after that of just like, man, dude, like Star Wars was such a, like that really just shaped my love for Star Wars so much. I mean, from the toys and the merchandise, and I mean, of course, like Revenge of the Sith and the video games and everything, like that was, such an all-time high for Star Wars. And it's like really what it's what brought me in. It's what captured me. It's, like that's also something that I'm thankful for about Star Wars is like, yeah, it's something that like kids can love and take with for the rest of their life. I'm incredibly excited to see, in 10 years, I want to put this into perspective real quick. the kids. Let's say a kid was 8 when they saw The Force Awakens. Okay. That was 8 years ago.
Oh.
They
just got their learner's permit.
Yeah, they're 16. They're like we're about to hit the 8-year anniversary of The Force Awakens. You know,
in 2 years we'll hit the 20th anniversary for Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. I'm incredibly stoked for the generation that, you know, kind of when Disney reignited Star Wars with their acquisition. You know, I know there's probably people out there listening that probably utterly despise Disney for what they've done to Star Wars. Hey, if that's what you believe, that's okay. Star Wars is kind of what you make it. You can make it your own, and that's great. But
in the words of Obi-Wan, the truth is often what we make of it.
Right. So exactly. And there's so many different versions of Star Wars, but I simply can't wait. Hopefully to educate myself, you know, like on maybe like, you know, this era there's going to be a kid in that kid, say that kid's 16. There's going to be a kid in 5 years who's going to be doing a show like this, and he's going to say the same thing that you did. He's like, 2015 to 2020 was the best time to be a Star Wars fan. And I honestly, do I agree? No, but I wasn't a kid during that time. I was a kid during Revenge of the Sith prequel days. But I'm ecstatic to be like, that's awesome. Like I can't believe that they got to experience Star Wars in that childlike lens, and they will be able to go back and go to these movies and these shows and all of these things and really like be like, no, like this impacted so much of my Star Wars, you know? And they're like, in the same way, they were like, you know, I was introduced to the original and the prequels kind of when I was a kid, like at the same time, but then it was like the sequels, right? Like that was when they were kind of introduced to that. They kind of all saw it at once. And so maybe, like people like the sequels more. Of course, they have plot flaws, but so does the original, so does the prequels. And it's like, and we love those. So, you know, I'm thankful. Like I completely agree with you. Like I'm thankful for that, and I'm super excited to see kind of this generation or the upcoming generation of like the people that are growing up on that stuff. And
it made me smile, you know, because I of course we all have our opinions of the sequels, whether good or bad. But the one thing that I have never lost my feelings on is how happy it makes me to see Star Wars be reignited for a new generation of kids. Seeing kids walk around dressed up as Rey or Kylo Ren or, you know, Poe or Finn, like that, and like seeing like a little like a baby in a BB-8 costume, you know, absolutely adorable. But the thing is like, yeah, I said that one of the best times to be a Star Wars fan when you're growing up is in the early 2000s, but all of that is out of nostalgic bias. But that's the best part. It wouldn't be nostalgic bias if it didn't give me such an influential childhood, if it didn't have such a profound indentation on how I perceived things and, you know, formative of my perceptions and my loves and whatnot. And so, yeah, I feel 100% the same. I can't wait for those kids to grow up and to tell me about how stupid I am because Rise of Skywalker is the best thing on the planet. Yeah. You know, like I am 100% like receptive to that. I will be okay with that. I'm not gonna, you know, it's interesting because it's almost like thematic with how things repeat themselves in Star Wars and in history as well. But yeah, I'm grateful for the Star Wars impact that it's meant to have on kids, you know. Yeah. And it just made me think, like, I forgot to bring up this part, but also, you know, dressing up almost every Halloween with something different Star Wars related. I mean, I was something Star Wars related for Halloween at least 6 times. I can name them. You know, Anakin, Obi-Wan, Vader, a clone trooper, Jango Fett, and I think I did Obi-Wan again because I just loved Obi-Wan as a kid. But man, I'm thankful for that's what I'm thankful for.
It makes me think of a moment, which I'll just go ahead and say it. This wasn't on my list as well. I'm super thankful for Star Wars Celebration. We already touched upon it already. That is something that every year it comes around, even if I am not there, I feel the Star Wars love through the echoes and channels of the internet and the live streams and just people that are going there, you know. And that, of course, was the first place in 2017 that we met in person. But kind of segueing from your point, I remember we were in line, we were waiting for the ropes to drop one day. I want to say it was like day 3 or something like that. It was one of like the second to last days, and there was a kid and his dad that were in line. They were right next to us, and this kid was probably like 6. He was a smart kid, but he was young. Yeah. And I remember my dad and his dad were talking, and they were kind of getting along well or whatever. But and there's a part to that, but I'll say that after. But I remember I was talking to him, and I was like, oh, like, you know, I assumed, I was like, oh man, like you probably like Star Wars Rebels. He's like, yeah, I like Star Wars Rebels. He's like, but I'm really into like the Old Republic stuff. And
my boy,
and I was like, this 6-year-old kid is into like the Old Republic and everything. I mean, granted, like I played it, but I was like, how much does he know? And he knew stuff about Darth Bane and then also like stuff about Plagueis, and he was like, I love Starkiller, like all, and I was like, this kid is a child after my own heart, you know. And I mean, we talked a little bit about Rebels because I told him, I was like, oh, Kanan is my favorite character. He's like, oh yeah, Kanan is cool. He's like, I like when he fought the Grand Inquisitor. And I'm maybe paraphrasing or completely misremembering. That kid, how old is that kid now? That kid's got to be like 12 or 13.
13, 14.
Yeah.
Man. I really hope that Star Wars, that his perception of Star Wars did not become jaded over the years. I hope that he is still pure. Yeah. But yeah, I was actually gonna say that, like, the other thing I was thankful for is Star Wars Celebration. What an experience, man. The warmth from Star Wars Celebration is a scarf that is palpable. I have felt it since, like, even during the coldest winters since 2017. I still feel that wrapped around my neck, you know. Like, I feel, man, just going back to, I mean, it's also really special to me just because it's the first time I met you in person. Mm-hmm. But I and you know, I've probably mentioned this before in an earlier episode, but the thing that made Star Wars Celebration so special to me, and I will always remember this one specific thought that I had, was that there was not a single person that you couldn't talk to. There was this connective tissue between everyone there. There was this like aura that surrounded everyone that visited Star Wars Celebration, because they were all there for one thing, because they love Star Wars. Like, whatever you know about the toxic fan base or like community, that was not there. I didn't meet a single person that like engaged in toxicity. Everyone was just so excited, and like they were in their cosplays, and then even I did a cosplay for one of the days, and I had like 50-60 people taking pictures of me, which was so cool. I took so many pictures that my lightsaber lost its battery. It was just such a good time. I can't wait to go back. And we're going back in full force, baby. Kyle Katarn and Luke Skywalker. You will see Mortis FM there at an unspecified date and time.
If we can make it to Japan, we're gonna try. It's gonna be a lot, but yeah, Cole and I have been planning for years at this point that I'm going to be Kyle Katarn, and he's going to be Luke Skywalker. We will be a duo combo for any of my Jedi Outcast, Jedi Academy peeps. We will be there. Hopefully,
you've got it.
Hopefully we'll get in that celebration costume montage. But yeah, you're completely right. Like, it's so almost like strange to me how like everybody just gets along. It's like, you know.
Yeah, it's almost like they just suspended their anger for, you know, the 4 or 5 days that Celebration existed to just enjoy, you know?
Yeah.
And, oh my God, like, walking around in this ginormous show floor surrounded by vendors having all sorts of custom items and memorabilia and statues and old vintage figures and like cosplay that you could put stuff together. Like, I got my Acolyte mask up there from that. Yep. It's so fond. And then it's so fond of a memory. And of course, who can forget the like pretty crappy Papa John's box pizza that you can buy off the side that made everybody feel sick.
You ate so many of those, dude.
Oh, dude, I chowed down. It was a problem. It was a problem. It made me sick. You got sick.
I did get sick.
But I wouldn't have done it any other way.
Exactly. Fond memories.
Fond memories. And also seeing the Star Wars actors, really cool. You yelled at Steve Bloom, which was awesome.
Shout out to Steve Blum for me demanding him to do a Chopper impression, and then he just made a bunch of fart sounds because I put him on the spot. I'm sorry, man.
Shout out to the camera of Star Wars Celebration, focusing on Grayson, Jesse, and Grayson's dad. But one of them was standing in front of me, and so you can only see my lightsaber and half of my body.
It's okay. You are still on that live stream. There's a point when they were doing the toy demo thing, and you're like,
yes, there is an iconic photo with Andy Gutierrez showcasing a toy where I found out that there was like a gap between people in the camera. Mm-hmm. And so I you can like see my face go down right here, and I smile. And yeah, we honestly,
I'm on the Star Wars Instagram. I forgot
right.
about that. There was a specific shot from that, and I'm looking up at the screen, and you can clearly see me. And I was like, I'm famous, guys. I'm on the Star Wars Instagram. Man, you know what? That is a great segue into this. Before maybe we'll do like one more final thing and we'll get into the scene. But I remember when Rebels ended, I remember tweeting like how happy and satisfied I was with the show. Like, I mean, I was just like, I was a mess. Like, that show meant so much to me at the time, and I really need to rewatch Rebels. I've been itching to rewatch it lately. I've got to do it. It's a shame that like how much I love that show and I've only seen it once. Absolute hypocrisy on my part. But anyway, I remember tweeting and I mentioned the Star Wars account and I was like, I love Star Wars so much. Like, and they replied to me and they said, we love you too. Like, I remember,
that's
and I know it's like it's just like probably like a social media intern on their Twitter, but that meant a lot. That made me felt seen, and that made me feel appreciated as a Star Wars fan. To be like, we appreciate you, man. Like, you know,
they didn't have to do that, but they did.
Yeah. We need more of it. I just, and that was always the goal. We've been talking a lot behind the scenes and stuff. It's like, I've felt a lot of love over the past 2 months that we've been doing this. 2 months, 3 months, something like that. And it was right when Ahsoka started. Ahsoka started, it was like middle of August, but.
It has been 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, we started 3 months ago. Ahsoka premiered 2 months ago.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Wow.
It's crazy. Time flies, and we are absolutely loving it. But I felt so much love, and I've just really felt like I've been very proud and again grateful, which is what this episode is about, is of the reception that I've gotten from people that kind of surround us, and I can call friends and collaborators, from Tony to Will to Seth and Connor and Ashton. If you're listening, dude, shout out to you, man. It was so cool of you that we were able to collaborate a little bit on that reel on Instagram. Go check that out if you haven't seen it, and go follow Ashton, share it.
Ashton, I have a request. If you're listening, please do a clip about the music when Palpatine is trying to seduce Anakin to the dark side, like when he initially reveals himself and Anakin takes out a lightsaber and he's like, "You're the Sith Lord." I have things that I want to talk about that scene, but I will save that for another day.
Okay. I don't even know about this, so if unless he has already done one, which I don't think he has, because he started around the same time that we did, and I found that that's a very common thing. Both Beyond the Dune Sea and Ashton both started doing their stuff the exact same time we did. And it's just the whole thing of like, I just really feel like the love has been shared and the friendship in the community, and I feel like everyone is doing so much to just make Star Wars a place that is fun, a fun space to enjoy again.
Yeah,
because there's so many people, there's so many pages and content creators that like all they do is just talk about how horrible Star Wars is right now, and like we're in the worst state that Star Wars has ever been, and I'm like, dude, like, I'm sorry you feel that way. Like, there is still so much to talk about that even if you hate every single thing that Disney has ever made, there's still so much to talk about. Let's just talk about the stuff that we like, and yes, we can critique things, but if your entire personality is just, you know, based on just tearing down and the absolute hatred of Star Wars, why?
It's a miserable existence. I could trash Star Wars all day. I have so many critiques that I could give.
Mm-hmm.
But what purpose does it serve? Does it make me happy? Does it make anybody else happy? If it makes them happy, does it make me happy that they're happy? No. Because I don't like making people upset about things. I don't like thinking about things negatively. I would much rather prefer to talk about the things that I love and why I love them. That's like that. I mean, not even to put like a shameless plug here, but that's the reason why I have my specific content on my own YouTube channel is to, identify and describe and establish like things that are good, because there's too many people that talk about things that are bad.
Yep.
I think that there's too much traffic revolving around bad things, and so to see all of these entities in the Star Wars community rising up, and like we're all kind of in a little group now, and it feels so interconnected. It feels like a family, like darkness rises and light to meet it. Absolutely, here we are. And I'm just so I will say, like, that's probably the next thing that I'm thankful for, is I'm just so thankful for this community.
Yes.
There are bad parts of it, but there are bad parts of every fandom. You'll find it everywhere you go. The worst parts are always the loudest, but I think when you really think about it, it is such a minute and just irrelevant part of a fan base. Like we don't need that. We're not here to talk crap about Star Wars. You can go to other places if you want to hear that, but I am thankful for the connections that we made in all of these other accounts of just people talking about why they love Star Wars, because it's so much more enriching. I feel I feel excited every time we sit down to record an episode of Mortis FM. I feel happy to hear different perspectives and to go like, oh, I never really thought about it that way, but we can do so in like a healthy discussion, because it's a good community. It really is a good community. And I think it's, most especially exemplified in Star Wars Celebration, where, the best of us are. And of course, like, the best of us are also elsewhere, because, it's hard to go to Star Wars Celebration. It's not an easy feat. Yeah. But if you do, like, if you put that much effort to go there because it's something you love, you're more than likely a real one.
if you have not had an opportunity and you see a chance where it comes near to you, say you don't have as much money or whatever, like for example, Japan is the next one. They have not had one in Japan in a long time. I'm very happy for people who are in Japan, or at least live near Japan, that's more accessible. It's not as long of a flight. Those people deserve that too, because a lot of people, it's not just America, it's not just Europe, it's people love Star Wars everywhere. So if you can, go at least once. If you see that announcement that it's coming to a place near you, or a place that you think you can reach, do it. And I will warn you, once you cross that threshold, you will want to go every single time.
It's like a tattoo.
And
you'll
exactly.
get that itch.
It will be hard to see everybody that going there, like without you. If you happen to miss a year, Cole and I have missed every single year since we have gone, which has been absolutely gut-wrenching. However, it's still one of my favorite times of the year, because we're watching the streams and the clips and the interviews and the panels and all of this stuff, and it's always, every time it happens, I'm at an all-time high with my Star Wars just love and hype. And I just think that is overall such a compelling motive for us why we started Mortis FM in general, is to find something that binds and penetrates the fandom together. You know, that's and
it's there was I think there was a bit of a vacuum of positivity, and coincidentally we all seemed to rise up at the same time. I think a lot of our channels kind of recognized that void and that desire for positive influence on a Star Wars community, and we never started this for the sake of notoriety or fame. No. The entire reason why we started this was because 70% of Grayson and I's dialogue together is about Star Wars.
Yeah.
And our conversations are so enriching, not to my own horn, but like our conversations are so enriching that we were both just like, dude, we need to get this essentially we need to get this on paper, right?
Yeah.
And so I mean, here we are. And now the channel's growing. It's slow, but it's steady. We've established connections. Much thanks to Grayson's part. I made us a banging new intro. Like
how you guys like that intro?
Yeah, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Mortis FM, baby. Yeah, I can't wait for Peridia AM in the next generation podcast.
The sequel podcast. I completely agree with you. I have nothing left to say about it. I am thankful for all of the different the stuff that we have got to experience, the connections we've made, et cetera, everything we have just mentioned in the past 20 minutes. I'm happy about it, and thank you all. I know it's a small force, but I am happy that each and every single one of you are along for the ride, and just enjoy listening to two dudes talk about Star Wars, because there's a lot of guys out there that you could be listening to, and you choose to listen to us. So
there are a lot of variations of two dudes talking about Star Wars.
Tarkin about Star Wars.
Here at Mortis FM, we're thankful for you.
I think that's the presiding thing. The thing that we're most thankful about is you guys. Which we should mention, though. What is the last thing that we're gonna talk about? And I'm gonna let you lead with it, because you introed this episode, and so what is the specific scene that you and I are super thankful for and that we love so dearly?
So when it comes to Grayson and I, we have this specific thing that every single time. I mean, obviously not obviously. I feel the need to clarify. We don't live in the same place. We live about 6-ish hours away. And every time one of our visits comes to an end, one of us says, "Be careful," and the other responds with, "You too." And that is a key component of a very underrated scene of Empire Strikes Back with Luke and Han, which is their last in-person interaction until they see each other again in Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
And I have always had such a strong, profound connection to that scene. I mean, a lot of it has to do with John Williams' score, being able to, expound upon that moment, but it's also just the acting between Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford, because in this moment, Han is, he's working on the Falcon, he's getting ready to leave. It's after he saved Luke from the Wampa. Luke's ready and raring to go in the snowspeeder, and they recognize that after a couple years of being in the rebellion together, after having these shared stories together, after them basically becoming best friends, this is where they part. And Luke doesn't have any, disparaging words like why aren't you staying? You need to fight with us. Like he understands that Han needs to go, and Han at the same time wants to go, but he doesn't really. Han's character is all about fighting his inner nature. But it's just I just remember I think that's like the true window to the soul of Han's character, really, for the first time. That he just says, "Hey kid, you all right?" And Luke just says, "Yeah." And they just share a moment, and Luke nods and starts to walk away, and he just says, "Be careful." or like Han just says, "Be careful," and Luke smiles and nods and says, "You too." And as he walks away, there is nothing but regret and just a feeling of, should I, like, I think I should stay. Like, just this overwhelming feeling of, I don't want to go, like, on Harrison Ford's face. And he
feels like he
plays that
has
so
to,
well.
but he doesn't want to. It is the contrast. We see his character has grown so much from A New Hope, where he's, you know, he wants to go, like, but like he knows he has to, but he wants to go, so he goes, and of course he comes back, because that's Han Solo's thing.
Of course he comes back.
He always comes back. And then this one, it's like, hey, I've got to get out of here. I've got a bounty on me or whatever. And it's like, he doesn't want to. He has to. But then he is forced by his hand. He ends up kind of finding a way to end up staying through the attack on the base. And then, you know, we got to get Leia out of here or whatever. And so it's a whole thing. But yeah, I remember it was some years ago, and I don't want to take full credit for it because I may have the story twisted, so feel free to completely correct me. But I remember I was sitting at my dinner table or whatever, and I was eating some food, and I remember I was watching that scene. I think actually you sent me the scene, I want to say, and you sent it to me, and you're like, man, like, I really love this scene. And I remember I responded, I was like, that's the last time that Luke and Han see each other before Return of the Jedi. And you were like, oh my God, you're right. I never thought about that. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that only just hit me right now. Because I think you were talking about the music. And I remember being like, that is crazy. Like that makes that scene so much more powerful, you know?
Yeah, that they're only together in only on Hoth for the entirety of The Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm. And it's already, that scene is so strengthened by how passionately Han goes out into the snow to save Luke. Like you see now, they are friends. They have a great respect for one another. And you know, is this scene in the movie, or I can't remember. I think it's a deleted scene, but it's in The Last Jedi where Luke goes into the Falcon. He finds out that Han has died. And I've always loved Mark Hamill's performance in that specific scene where he's like, he is overcome with such great sadness, because you know, like they're best friends. Like they really have become, like, they love each other, you know? Like, I mean, he marries Luke's sister, you know. They are a trio. They are a powerful force, and so
they're also war buddies, you know.
Right, like they're all generals. General Leia Organa, General Han Solo, General Luke Skywalker. Like they are all head forces of the rebellion, but they're all such great friends, and they truly are. They are legends in the rebellion. But at the end of the day, they're all best friends. And then more than that, they're family. And so that's why I personally, and it connects to Return of the Jedi. I don't know how, I think some people may think that the beginning of Return of the Jedi is a little long. I personally love the beginning of Return of the Jedi because
I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. Because it's like Luke is like, I'm gonna go get Han back. Like he went out for me. I'm going out for him. Like we're and even in the end of Empire Strikes Back. Sorry, I'm slurring my words there. He's talking to Lando, and was like, we'll meet at the rendezvous point. Like, he's like, don't worry, we'll find him. And it's just like, man, they put getting Han back at the top of their list. And like, honestly, I don't think the rebellion would have gotten him back if it wasn't for Luke and Leia and Lando's operation there.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, they didn't. I mean, obviously there weren't any other rebellion forces in on that op. They were. Yeah. I mean, they were clearly busy after having been absolutely scattered by the Empire.
Yeah.
They had enough things to handle. And yeah, they had to repay the favor. Because as Han said, that's to you owe me, Junior. And like he has to go back and repay those debts. Yep. And I just think it's all about the characterization of the two of them and the establishment of their bond, because they don't say, I'm gonna miss you so much, like, bye. Instead, they just look at each other and nod, and be careful, you two. And as soon as Luke walks away and he can't see Han anymore, Han drops that facade and he has that sad look on his face that Alden Ehrenreich does so well in Solo, as well as Kira is flying away in the yacht.
Yeah.
That is that's a key thing for Han, that like he really wears his emotions on his face.
Yeah.
On his sleeve,
Yeah,
And
I was gonna say the exact same thing about his look as Kira is flying away. Like I was like, that is such a Han thing. You can see so much about what he's thinking about or what he's feeling, without him saying anything at all. Or saying very little.
He pushes people away because it's easier, but when he knows that they're in trouble, he will stop at nothing to protect them. And that's actually, you mentioned, I don't know if it was in a previous episode or if it was in private conversation, but you said that in a Harry Potter context, you think Han might be a Hufflepuff because of his unwavering loyalty.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is loyalty is one of the core traits of our good Han Solo.
He tries so desperately not to be like he really tries to be fast and loose, but it's in his core. He grew up on the streets being so loyal to Kira, and he goes years trying to find her, and once he finally has to let her go, like I think that really damages him to the point where he's like, I'm not doing this anymore. Me and Chewie were doing our own thing, but he's also loyal to Chewie, like and then at that point, like they are like inseparable. And then he meets Leia and Luke and he's like, yeah, whatever. And then by the end of that movie, and especially Empire Strikes Back, like he's in deep. Like he is loyal to them, not only to them, to the rebellion. He doesn't want to go, but he has to. And then unfortunately the Empire kind of forces his hand where he's with Leia, and it's a stringing connection of just, like you said, unwavering loyalty. And I think it's kind of goes back to what we were talking about Han Solo. I think it was in our favorite characters part 2. Go back to listen to that if you want to hear more about Han Solo. But that is where I mentioned the Hufflepuff thing. But
hey, true believers, check out our favorite characters part 2 for more info.
there's a whole lot of characters we'll get into, but in those episodes, if you didn't listen to them, they're good stuff. But yeah, that was really the inspiring thing, is we've been wanting to talk about that scene for a long time. And it's just one of my favorites. And I mean, it has become such a staple. And I think it also helps that you and I have a list of characters that have a dynamic that we kind of liken ourselves to. And Han and Luke is very high on that list. And that scene is such a big part of that.
It is, yeah. Anytime it's like good Han and Luke moments, we're both like, like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, like pointing at the screen.
Yeah.
And yeah, that loyalty it carries over even into the sequel trilogy with Ben, Kylo Ren. Han's final act is to reconcile with one of his own. It's all a part of his character. So yeah, this just became a Han Solo episode.
Another Han Solo thumbnail.
Yeah,
but that is that scene. We are very grateful for that scene, and I think we could definitely make this a running thing for we want to do some shorter episodes just to talk about some of more of our favorite scenes. So if that's something that interests you, let us know, and maybe let us know some of your favorite subtle scenes, whether it's in the shows or the movies, whatever.
What is something in Star Wars that you guys don't think is talked about enough?
Yeah.
Do you think that it's one of the screaming guys in the pod race? Because me too.
I love those. Oh no, Cole's gonna get on his soapbox here and talk about his two favorite guys from the Phantom Menace pod race.
My new one of my new Glup
Poopos.
Glup Poopos is a guy called Mars Guo from the pod race in Phantom Menace. Specifically, he is the guy that goes "Roar!" and then he explodes. That is now the best Star Wars character. I'm going to throw every character that I said was the best in the past couple episodes into the trash.
Yeah.
Mars Guo, you reign supreme.
Yeah, I'm waiting for his Disney Plus spinoff.
I'm waiting for his comeback. I want Mars Guo, a Star Wars story.
He's in the world between worlds.
Oh my god.
Anakin's like, who are you? He's like, I'm Mars.
I have to have an edit. I have to have an edit now where Ahsoka wakes up and it's just Mars Guo standing there.
Oh god, please. Honestly, oh man, that would take so long, but that would be an amazing thumbnail for this episode if we could do that. Just what we take for granted, and it's just him in the pod. He's still in the pod racer, and then like literally just Ahsoka's just standing there. Oh my gosh, dude. Anyway, let's wrap this episode up with, of course, tradition. Another conversation card. We did talk about it a little bit more in depth, but let's grab one here. I'm gonna not even overthink it.
Conversation card.
Man, they are speaking my language today, buddy.
Okay, what do we got?
If you constructed your own lightsaber, what materials would you use for the hilt?
Dude. Okay, hold on. Well, now I have to look up Star Wars materials.
Oh, I mean, it's, well, granted, Survivor got very in-depth with it.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, I'll pull up the list as well. I would like to know. I definitely have an idea in mind and what kind of design I would like. I have quite a varying bit of designs, but I typically like your very. I like me a good nice kind of rugged looking saber. You know, my favorite sabers are the ones that my favorite saber of all time is Kanan Jarrus's. I'm not biased, but I love his saber. I love just kind of the metal on it. I love the coloration, especially once it goes from Caleb Doom to Kanan. Over time, his lightsaber becomes more like green and tarnish, which I really like. I love the emitter on it, but it's not very different when it comes to materials. But there's a lot of hilts that I really like. But I mean, I really like, Luke and Obi-Wan's green and blue ones are so iconic in terms of like the materials they use. Like, the Graflex Skywalker saber is so iconic. Man, this card's gonna get me on my soapbox right now because I am the lightsaber guy. I personally love, and I can find what the specific materials are because again, they are in Survivor and in Fallen Order. But I always love when sabers kind of stick to that metal, the iron kind of metal coloration with some black, with some bronze, and with some gold. That's what I've always loved, or copper and brass. I love when it's like they use, especially like Out of World, when they use them for the movies, they use real world components, and then they put little gizmos on there to kind of just make it feel more Star Warsy. But that's my little rant. I'm gonna pull up some materials. Cole, what do you got?
So for me, I'm not really going to talk about materials specifically. I'm basically just going to talk about the kind of overall design of my lightsaber.
Okay.
And as Grayson knows, if I were to be a lightsaber, wielder, I would probably have two. I think one of them would be yellow, the other one would be purple. But when I customized my saber in Survivor, when I was using the yellow blades, I most especially loved a design where the primary color, I would say, is bronze. It is a bronze material throughout. It has very small silver like wrappings around it, like silver encasings, but it's tinted with gold. Like there's little gold decals all around it, so it kind of looks like a New Age / High Republic-esque lightsaber. And then I'd also love to have kind of a little leather strap around it to make it easier to grip. I'd like that a lot. And then as for my purple one, I would really love just black metal with silver metal encasings on top of it. And kind of a very easy to grasp grip, and maybe spikes on the top, maybe spikes on the hilt. I think that would look cool.
Okay, for the purple one.
Yeah, like a bit more edged, and also
Revenue.
Yeah, Revenue in the sense that because I remember the first lightsaber that I designed for the one that I got from Saberforge, the emitter is like the crystal's kind of visible, or at least like there's a part of the emitter that opens up. There's like a window in it, and I think that would be neat as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of my design that I'm thinking about. I think both of them I would love to just have little engravings all over them. Just a very delicate and detailed design.
Would the engravings actually mean anything, or more so just to kind of give like an aesthetic look to it?
They would mean something. As to what that would be in universe, I'm not entirely sure. I think in the canon, the yellow lightsaber would probably be reminiscent of the tenets of being a temple guard or like a Jedi sentinel or something along those lines. But for the purple one, maybe like star maps. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I like it kind of sticks with our aesthetic as well, of kind of like the rings and whatnot, like the very Peridia designed kind of ancient. Yeah, it's cool stuff. It's tough for me because I go back and forth on so many different lightsaber designs. So
Strap
I'm just gonna.
Everybody.
I do. Honestly, so here's the thing. I'll go piece by piece, metal by metal. I'll go first piece. Just the grip. I have always liked just a solid, long grip that allows me to be able to wield the saber with two hands. If your saber is only built for one-handed use, you are severely harming yourself. You can't let the hilt be too short. So I always like to keep mine at least above 11 inches, and definitely spots where it's not spiky. It needs to be very comfortable and ergonomic because, again, you're just harming yourself. I remember I saw a picture recently of Revan's purple lightsaber. Dude, his red lightsaber, his main lightsaber is phenomenal. Super simple design. Like it is a solid lightsaber. His purple one, I don't know how he can hold that thing. It legitimately, it's like there's literally no way, like you would lose grip of it so fast because it basically has these spikes on the top, like you were kind of mentioning with yours. But instead of it being just the top, they go all the way down to the grip, and they're just sticking out. Like, not like subtly, it's like really bad.
As a primary source of this, I based my first lightsaber off of Revan's lightsaber, and it has like those same like grooves around the grip. It really sucks to wield, and I cut my finger once or twice.
Yeah.
It's a cool looking saber, not ideal to wield.
You gotta mix aesthetic with practicality, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hey, you live and you learn. I used to be really, when it comes to the grip thing, I used to be super into like the leather wrapping, very inspired by Ram Koda's lightsaber, as well as Lord Starkiller's lightsaber, which kind of has those spikes but also has leather wrappings on it. That is a very good lightsaber. Do you remember Lord Starkiller's lightsaber?
Lord's, like the really spiky one?
Yes, yeah, where it's like the
spike.
It's a pretty long one, but it is like, it's nothing that makes it where it's just like a pain to hold, you know?
It's got such a solid leather grip though.
Right, exactly. Like it looks edgy without being like, I'm gonna just cut my hands open.
Yeah, it's very practical actually.
Yeah.
Like the only flare is the spike on top. The rest of it is like pure utilitarian.
I like it. It's very Starkiller in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I always like the idea of the grip. I like it kind of like Cal Kestis's, where he has basically a knurled grip. That basically, for context, the emitter is the part where the blade comes out, and then you've got your activator section, or maybe there's maybe a section in between. Then you've got your grip, and then you've got your pommel, which is the bottom, which is, you know, no blade coming out of there. So I've always liked the grip idea of it being like a knurled grip, like Cal's, because Cal's has like it's also technically a Jaro Tapal's, but it has like a textured, it's almost, honestly, it's like a dumbbell. And the reason that would be so good is, first of all, it makes your hands strong. It would create calluses, but also the reason those dumbbells are knurled like that is because so you can get a good grip. You don't want to be lifting something or swinging something around or holding something if you don't have a good grip on it, because your hands can get sweaty and stuff. And your hands do get sweaty when you work out, and your hands will get sweaty when you're swinging around a lightsaber because it's a lot of physical activity. So it's good to have a grip where you can have a really firm grip on it, despite, how wet your hands are, how dirty your hands are. It's going to be textured. It's going to be strong. So I've always liked that. I've always liked that just being kind of like a weathered kind of gray, just iron, just a solid metal, right? The pommel doesn't matter too much. I've always just kind of like a solid kind of just round pommel. I'm trying to think of a lightsaber that might be akin to it. I don't really like, a lot of pommels have kind of those like little square bumpy things, like Obi-Wan's, for example. Yeah. I've never been a fan of those. I do think it works for a lot of lightsabers. It's just not for me. My personal favorite lightsaber in my collection is one from the Republic Commando video game. It is my pride and joy currently, and it is a very solid and simple lightsaber design.
Loves that thing.
I love it. It's so good. If anybody saw it, it's on Instagram. Maybe I can do a post about it or something. But that one uses a lot of different materials and is very ergonomic. But I really like the pommel on that, where it just has some anodized lines and kind of textures to it, and it's overall very simple. The activator switch, I'm a big fan of boxes. I really like when there's an activation box, like Kanan's, like Luke's, like Obi-Wan's. The problem that I have with Luke's and Obi-Wan's is that theirs is really low down. So I always like it to be sort of like in the middle of the hilt, because that way you can have one hand up high, kind of choking it near the emitter, and then one hand at the grip. So your hand is never needing to go into the middle part or whatever with, and it's not like hurting your grip on it or whatever. So I've always liked the idea of the box being like a gold, like bronze material, like it's like to prevent it from getting shorted out, right? You don't want your button to short out. So that would always be my thing. And I've always liked the blinking lights on them, like Luke's and Obi-Wan's and Kanan's, where they've got the blinking green and red lights. So I've always liked that. On the side of it, and then for like the top part, I've always liked it to be something that maybe conducts heat pretty well, because your heat is going through the crystal, right? So I've always wanted it to be kind of like a conductive material. So I've always liked like a copper material, right? So maybe just like a copper ring or section around just near the top of where the emitter is at, to make sure that, hey, it's not gonna melt, it's gonna protect your hands, right? And then for the emitter, that's the part that I always get the tricky part for me, because I like a lot of different emitters. To me, it is the piece that makes your saber the most iconic. That's just my opinion, because there's so many different designs you can have with the emitter. Like you said, there's the spikes. Yeah, like the Graflix has kind of like that slanted look with the bunny ears at the top. Obi-Wan's and Luke's is just kind of like that. It has it's more square at the top, but it has the thin neck, right? I've always liked the thin neck. I don't want it to be that thin, because I'd always be afraid, like, you never know what's going to happen to your lightsaber. It's almost too thin, so I would like it to kind of narrow in so you can have a good choke point on it. But honestly, I've always liked the idea of the lightsaber having a guard for your hand, not a cross guard. I do like cross guard lightsabers, but that would just not be for me. Kanan's, that always has kind of like that part that sticks out, that kind of guards your hand, almost like a fencing sword, right? Or the blade, and that part, I'll be honest, if I could get my hands on it, I'm making that part out of Beskar. It's just gonna happen.
Oh, okay.
Because the worst that it would prevent you, like you can't hurt somebody like you can with like the cross guard, right? But the emitter would, if it was made out of Beskar, if say the blade slides down and hits that emitter that's sticking out to protect your hand, it's gonna just bounce right off, and your lightsaber is not gonna get destroyed. How many lightsabers do you see that just get cut right at the emitter, right? Because someone's blade slides down, or they cut it right at the top. Lightsaber's done. You gotta make a whole new one. Make the top out of Beskar, it ain't happening, because the whole, they're just gonna hit it and it's not gonna do anything. So it would be hard to do. You gotta see what's in Huang's collection. But overall, that's a wide array of different materials there. And as for the blade color, I've gone through different blade colors. I love them all. But I'm going to go true blue. Blue is iconic. It is powerful. And, I'm someone who appreciates simplicity. I've always been a big blue and green guy. I love yellow. I love purple. But for me, it's just blue is awesome, dude.
It's so hard to not see you with a blue lightsaber. So
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always been a thing. I've gone through like I love like the emerald blade or whatever, but I mean, you know, my like Kanan is my favorite. Kyle Katarn, they've all had, you know, and I've always been like, man, well, if I have a first and a second one, you can't choose the color, but I'm like, maybe I had a blue one and then I had a green one, you know, or just I got my hands on it. Like it happens all the time. Think how many times Anakin and Obi-Wan end up having to use other people's lightsabers because they lose theirs, right?
Oh yeah.
Qui-Gon uses, or Obi-Wan uses Qui-Gon's, which is green. Allegedly, I think he held on to that one for a little bit until he was able to make a new one.
Luke himself uses that yellow lightsaber in the comics.
Right.
You know,
dude, every Jedi, it is rare for a Jedi to have just one lightsaber.
Ironically,
it's like, and maybe it's just for like the gamification or like the funness of it to be like, oh, here's a new lightsaber. It sells toys. It looks cool, right? But it's like, I will say, utmost respect to the Jedi that has never destroyed or lost their lightsaber, because as Obi-Wan says, this weapon is your life. That is a sign of someone who has some true discipline. So, and I do feel like, as much as I love lightsabers, that probably would be me. I probably would be like, if we were Jedi, you would walk into the room and I'm like tinkering and like cleaning and polishing my lightsaber, and you're just like, you at it? You're doing that again? And I'm like, I gotta make sure it's in good condition. What if it wears down? I don't want it to break down in the heat of battle. What if I'm stranded on some planet for months and it gets dirty? Gotta make sure it's clean, because if I don't get it clean, it's not gonna work right. You know?
I feel like this should be like a term. Like I'm gonna coin it now as lightsaber discipline.
Yes.
Of like you just taking care of it, but like in an interesting way, I feel like you would also be the type you would just probably want more. Like you would like in the sense that I think if we want to think of it in like a canonical sense, maybe you're just like constantly upgrading your saber. Like it doesn't stay the same.
I mean, we see with Cal Kestis, he like, again, it's a video game, but his lightsaber is extremely modifiable.
Yeah, that man changes that thing around like a Lego brick, you know?
yeah, like he's always just like, you know, he's got the cross guard, and he's got take it apart to turn it into two, which is pretty unique for someone like not a lot of people have that feature on their lightsaber. So
that gives me an idea.
Yeah. Oh,
it gives me an idea that maybe.
But again, this is why Huyang is one of my favorite droids, because he's my lightsaber homie. You know, I'd be spending a lot of time with Huyang if I could help it. Does he want a personal assistant on his ship? I'm there, buddy. All right.
I think, I like realistically, I think he probably wouldn't, but like he would grow accustomed to you over time.
Yeah. I'd be like, can I come by for another gathering? Like, I'll be his. Yeah, you know how you have to, like, in certain, like, internships and stuff, you have to get in a certain amount of, like, hours shadowing somebody, and it's just like,
shadowing Huyang.
Yeah, it's just like, yep, it's on my resume, my Jedi resume.
It's like you're going past all of these younglings' lightsabers, you're just like, crap, mega crap.
That would be me, bro. I see some of the worst lightsabers. I want to ask this question. And then we will wrap this episode, because it ended up being a lot longer than I thought it would be, as always.
I had a feeling it would. As soon as I heard the card, I was like, oh man.
I know.
I'm just gonna strap this seatbelt. I'm gonna get ready for this ride. What question do you have, good sir?
What do you think is the most underrated lightsaber hilt?
Underrated lightsaber hilt.
Just like in design, you know, or whatever, really. Yeah. I think I have my pick.
I'll think about it. Go ahead.
I want to say I think the most underrated lightsaber design, just aesthetically, because it's so unique to this character's culture. It's Gungi. His lightsaber is awesome.
Oh, yeah, I think... Yeah, I would say that... I don't know if it's underrated, because I think like everybody thinks that it's cool, but I think overlooked. I would probably say. Yeah. No, you're definitely right though. Gungi's lightsaber is so unique. That is just such an awesome lightsaber, man.
I want to say that was probably the inspiration for this question, is because, you know, his lightsaber is made out of wood from Kashyyyk, out of the trees on Kashyyyk, which is awesome. Like, that's so cool.
It's such a even Huang was like, all right, man, that's cool. That's a cool idea. So I don't know. I guess like underrated or overlooked lightsabers. I don't see a lot of people talking about it, but it happens to be one of my personal favorites. Ezra's second lightsaber, like his green one.
So good.
I really love that hilt. Friends and loved ones know that I happen to play Blade and Sorcery from time to time, which is a VR sandbox combat game, and there is a Star Wars mod for it where you can select from a range of all sorts of hilts. And I grab Ezra's second hilt almost every time. I retrofit it with a yellow crystal, and I'm a big fan of it. I love how thin the emitter is. It really just feels like a sharpened, efficient blade. And another thing, I definitely wouldn't say underrated, but I love Darth Malgus's hilt.
That is a mean looking hilt, dude.
Oh, it's mean looking and it's mean acting. First off, super efficient like grip, but the emitter has this like spiked guard, like this edged guard too, like it's sharpened.
It's literally it's like two blades on each side of it that go to like a point. Like it's like if he had the lightsaber off, he could just stab somebody with it. You know,
literally, it's probably meant for butchery. It's threatening. It's like he's got two knives on the side of his lightsaber. So yeah,
metal, bro.
yeah, literally. That's a good question.
Yeah, I like that. I like how these questions always kind of spawn more discussion. We're just like, that's
how it is with us, man. Like we will literally talk about something and we'll think of an idea and go like, oh yeah, but this thing, and then like it just spawns another 30-minute conversation. That's what makes it the best though.
I have another question then. I already said what my favorite lightsaber is. I actually don't think I know yours. My favorite lightsaber is Kanan Jarrus's lightsaber. It's so cool. I love it. What is yours? What is your favorite lightsaber of all time?
That is so it's so tough.
It is tough.
Off the top of my head, honestly, I don't know. It is my favorite. I think my favorite one might be Ezra's second saber.
Dude, that is a phenomenal answer because it's so good.
I just love that lightsaber. Like honorable mention, I think I really love Luke's. And I love Obi-Wan's as well.
Luke's green.
Yeah, Luke's green. Yeah. But Ezra's second lightsaber is just such a great design. Also, Cal's. I love his,
is a banger.
His lightsaber. Yeah, especially just everything he can do with it.
Yeah. I really love like some people like the kind of the broken bottom end version in Survivor. I mean not Survivor, in Fallen Order. I like that version, but I liked the repaired the pommel version of it where it's just one lightsaber, but it's got just that. It's just a really long lightsaber, and I like that a lot. Like it makes it feel like, because the longer your lightsaber is, from a fighting standpoint, it actually makes more sense, because if you're going into two hands, you're not just relying on the strength of just one hand. Like if you're putting your hand on this end, you're basically the leverage of it. You're using that as well to be able to press in more. This is all science stuff. Lightsaber education, everybody. But yeah, Ezra's green saber is one of my all-time favorites. It feels so lightsabery. It has that red little notch on it. That's like almost like an act, like that would be what he uses to either adjust the length or turn it into like the training mode, you know?
Man,
it's awesome.
I'm just looking at him right now.
For me, I'm a big fan of when lightsabers look like they were made out of real parts that someone found. That's always the thing, because a lot of the prequel lightsabers, they don't look like they're just a lot like they're just very. And this is also a sign of the times when it comes to, you know, the High Republic versus the prequels. Is, you know, we see in the prequels the Jedi don't have as many different lightsaber colors. Their robes are a lot more flat and drab and boring. Even their lightsabers are more just a lot of silver and black. There's not really a whole lot of color variation there. Whereas the High Republic, there's just a lot of really cool elements to their lightsabers, you know. And
there's a stronger sense of individuality there.
Right. And so I've always loved the lightsaber hilts that feel like based on this question, feel like they were made out of like materials that were found, you know, or they feel unique, they feel inspired. And that was kind of the whole point with the lightsabers when in the original trilogy was like, yeah, these guys on the prop team, they just went to hardware stores or junkyard and they just found random pieces and slapped it together on a hilt, and it made it look cool. Like that is the coolest thing to me about lightsabers.
Yeah, I mean the charm of a lightsaber, especially when you make it, like there's nothing better than like the heroic story when they forge their sword, you know, and it makes me think, you know, kind of a reference to another thing in pop culture is in Avatar: The Last Airbender when Sokka forges his meteorite sword.
So cool.
Which was like it's one of my favorite moments in the show, but also just one of Sokka's best moments. But like he thought he came up with that idea to make that sword out of the meteorite. And so yeah, I think it's a lot cooler when a Jedi's saber is unique because it's an extension of themselves.
Yes.
And that's very indicative when you look at each saber, go like, oh yeah, that's definitely this character's lightsaber, because it says that character to a T.
Yeah.
And man, you got me thinking about lightsabers, so
yeah, I'm sorry. I'm always spamming Cole with like, yo, look at this lightsaber, man. I want to get this. Right now, like, at the top of my list, if people want to help me out for Christmas, I'm trying to save up for my own Kanan Jarrus lightsaber. I'm just kidding. That same site also sells a phenomenal Ezra green lightsaber that I want. Not that I want, but it looks real good. I also get that, man. I also personally love the extensions that Sabine made on that lightsaber. That's just me. But I like the little side panels that she puts on that are kind of those are kind cool. of oh, whoopsies. Hopefully does my mic still sound okay? Sorry, I just bumped my mic on accident.
You sound fine. It probably.
I'm not editing this out. I just got worried.
I will say, probably my second favorite lightsaber, and honestly, like this rivals Ezra's second lightsaber. My second favorite or potential favorite is Rom Koda's lightsaber.
Dude, yeah.
It is so simple, so efficient. It literally just
leather wrappings.
It literally just looks like a katana hilt, and it's got a leather wrapping around it. That's Rom Koda. I mean, I love that hilt. I need that hilt. I want it.
That was always one of my top ones that I wanted to get, but I decided I refrained. But maybe one day, maybe when I make more money, I will be getting more lightsabers because I have a problem.
It's beautiful.
It's so good. I could go on. We could do a whole episode on lightsabers if I wanted to. But
I know you could.
We've already talked for like 25 minutes on it. But anyway, let's wrap it up here for folks on their Thanksgiving break. And I'm just gonna say, to continue the trend, I'm thankful for lightsabers, because if I had to have one fictional weapon ever in real life, it's gonna be a lightsaber, buddy. Would I kill myself with it on accident? Likely. I hit myself on the head with my lightsaber earlier on accident. Not with the blade, just with the hilt. I don't know how I did that.
He hit my finger a month or two back.
Why'd you have to bring that up, man? I'm sorry.
What was that? I just think it's funny. It's funny.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. All right.
That's gonna do it for this episode of Mortis FM, a Star Wars podcast.
Everyone, happy Thanksgiving. Did you enjoy this Thanksgiving episode? Is it currently Thanksgiving when you are listening to this? If so, how's your Thanksgiving going? Glad that we could be a part of it. Stay tuned for the next episode, huh?
Tier list, we promise it's happening. Sorry for the change of plans. I promise you, we meant it. It's happening.
Tier list is happening. It's probably going to be a long one, and that says a lot given our episode runtime. Usually.
That might be a two-parter. I'll be honest. We might need to break that one up.
We'll have to see. It'll honestly depend on how. I mean, man, we're going to be talking about each movie for such a long time.
Yeah, we could.
It's going to be great.
Well, there are certain movies that I feel like it's going to absolutely blitz through, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Cole, where can they find you?
They can find me at the.cosmic.drifter on Instagram.
And go on YouTube. The Cosmic Drifter. That's his YouTube channel. Go check it out. You mentioned it earlier. He's working on some great stuff there. He already has done some great stuff. So go check it out. You can follow me at Schradester8 on Instagram. But more importantly, you can follow. I run the account, but you can follow us at Mortis FM. Cole basically, if there's anything that's important that happens on there, he finds out about it. So it's basically us. I just do all that stuff.
And you can find Grayson and also myself at Mortis FM. In case you didn't know already, if you're currently listening to us, you more than likely have the access to that. But if you don't, if you're just some guy that found or girl, we don't know, that found the episode. And you don't know? Mortis FM on Instagram.
Yeah.
And
that is where
places.
That's basically where I do everything because I don't really like Twitter or X, and Facebook is not my jam. Sorry.
Check out our excellent reels made by our good man Grayson, and watch the intro that I made another 500 times, please, because I spent a long time on that.
Yeah, he worked very hard. I was absolutely blown away by that intro. So we hope you all like it. We got very good feedback from it, and it's gonna be sticking around for a long time because I like it
for a long time until I make a better one.
Yeah, well, we can save that for a while. We gotta. It's right now. It's real good. Anything else? Tier list. Thanksgiving.
Love yourself, love others, be positive about Star Wars. And Grayson, may the Force be with you.
Always, my friend. Always.